Welcome to another Cushy development log. I've been working on what I thought was going to be me starting to make a kind of a clicker or incremental game of some sort, and then I realized that I enjoy playing them, but I don't really have any good ideas on what to make with one right now. So I just kind of decided to take this to a point where it could be fun for other people to at least see the example and maybe get inspired to make their own clicker games in Cushy, more than my creativity is allowing myself to do right now. So what is this actual little example showing? It's showing the idea that when you buy these different tier upgrades, it starts generating the tier below it. So when you buy the tier 1, it starts generating a resource every 100 milliseconds. I'll show you how that works in a second. But then as we buy a tier 2, it starts generating the tier 1s based on how many tier 2s I have. So if I add more tier 2s, this number starts going up faster. And if I start buying tier 3s, now we start getting tier 2s every time that the ticks happen as well. And as we start getting absurd numbers, the numbers get bigger, and that's all that these types of games are all about, is the dopamine. And then someone has to write a prestige system. And anyways, get ahead of myself. So I've kind of like tried to figure out like what how to boil this down into a simplest state. And so the game structure, basically we have the resource at the top. That's our kind of pool that we're accumulating and using for all the upgrades and stuff. In theory, a game could have multiple resource pools, like different mana types, that sort of thing, right? But this example is just a single one. And then the upgrades we have defined here. The base cost starts at 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000. But then we have this like cost function that gets called every time that the upgrade's purchased, that allows you to upgrade it to like the next cost level. So as we buy one of these, you see it right now, it's 149, goes up to 186, 233. So it gets more and more expensive as you buy more. Many games have different ways of scaling that. The idea is that it's just a function that you get to provide. And then the totals are just kind of the ability to have the purchase level itself be separate from the total amount that we're accumulating, just so that we can display them separate, really, honestly, and kind of have separate purchasing prices for each of them. So at the top, I told you I was going to show you how the tick actually works. It's very simple. You just say my resource pool every 100 milliseconds, run this closure, and then we can go down to see our actual game tick, which does kind of what I told you about before, where we have to get the current value of the tier 4 and add it to tier 3, and then add it to tier 2, and then add it to tier 1. Well, that's just how this logic works out right here. To me, it looks pretty simple, which I kind of like. But obviously a more complex game is going to have a very, very different looking tick. But in theory, the idea is similar. You end up putting all your different data kind of in a shared struct that you can access during the tick function, and you kind of design your systems, and you can very imperatively say this thing is running before this other one, so you can make sure that the math all works out correctly. So anyways, I hope that some people are inspired to potentially try making kind of clicker games in Cushy, because most of the clicker games that I play online have pretty basic needs in terms of UI, and I think the Cushy's ready for that. So if you've been wanting to try to make games in Rust, specifically clicker or incremental games, and you're mostly just wanting buttons and text and a little bit of complex layouts and scroll views and things like that, try out Cushy. So thanks for watching.